Hello student, welcome to social studies class. As per the syllabus, half yearly syllabus, 2 chapters are there in your syllabus, and now I am going to take the first chapter. It is new religious ideas. It is chapter number 6. Okay. New religious ideas. Now, post-Vedic time, the society was very complex, and people could not cope up in terms of this social and the religious aspects. So, gradually, people are very much dissatisfied with the existing system of worshipping. Now, Vedic religion, it was based on this scripture. Mainly the 4 Vedas are there: Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Yajur Ved, and the Atharva Ved. Now, so it was the Brahmins who used to interpret this scripture the way they liked. Common people, they could not understand this scripture, and gradually the common people, mainly the outcast people, outcast people are kept aloof, or kept away from the mainstream religious policies or this system of worshipping God. Now, as a result, what happened then? It was inevitable, it was inevitable necessity from the side of society that to come up the new ideas, and as a result, what happened? This Buddhism and the Jainism came into being. Buddhism and Jainism came into being. Now, the 2 great men who evolved these ideas, the new religious ideas. Now, one by one, we will discuss. So, the background, what I said you now, so it was the complexities, it was the complexities which existed there in the society. So, these are the background, or all these factors form the background or the platform for the coming up of these 2 new religious ideas. So, when these 2 new religious ideas were propagated or evolved by these 2 great men, then people embrace their ideas. Now, first, Jainism. Jainism are founded by Vardhaman Mahavira. According to Jaina scripture, according to Jaina text, and the Jaina literature, 24 religious teachers were there. Before Vardhaman Mahavira, 24 were also there who preach this religion. Now, this Tirthankar, this Tirthankara means this religious teacher. Mahavir, he was the 24th teacher. Now, who was Mahavir? Mahavir, he was born in 6th century BC, before Christ, in Vaishali in North Bihar. He belonged to a republican tribe of Lichavichis. So, Lichavichi, so it was a tribe. So, this Vardhaman Mahavir belonged to that tribe. He was the son of clan chief, means this Lichavichi's chief, that man's son, who? Vardhaman Mahavir. So, being a son of this chief, so he was leading a very comfortable and the luxurious life. But he was in his later life, so he was not attached to this comfortable life and the luxurious life, and he started roaming or wandering here and there or across the country in search of truth. Now, then what happened? Finally, he found his queries about life. So, what was his queries? So, attaining of knowledge. And Mahavir, after attaining of knowledge, became Jinnah. Now, Jinnah, what is Jinnah? Now, Jinnah is that one who conquered his desire. One who conquered his desire. More desire, more problem. No desire, no problem. So, according to Jainism, if someone conquered or give up his all desire, it means he attained this knowledge of this Jinnah. Now, when desire will be more, now if I have now I want to please Almighty Allah. Okay, I want to please Almighty. Now I have other this worldly pleasure. Also, I want to achieve all this. I want to lead a luxurious life, and I am very fond of this materialistic life rather than this spiritual. So I cannot attain or achieve my goal, and that it is to please Almighty. So I can't simply. So here in Jainism also. So what Mahavir? Okay, Vardhaman Mahavir. So according to him, those who attain, those who conquer desire or give up all this desire, worldly pleasure, materialistic things, okay, give up all this, then he or she can means this attain knowledge. So because of this, okay, Jinnah, it is conquering of desire. It is Jinnah, and from this word, the name of this a new religious idea given as Jainism. Now, Mahavira, the number of things, okay, number of factors you will find that common in these two religions. Okay, say here the Mahavir, he had no faith in the complicated rituals or rites. Okay, so he was the believer of this. He used to believe that life, okay, simple life and good life, simple and the good. Okay, simplicity, simple living, high thinking. That should be the motto. So according to him, it was his motto. Now, according to this Vardhamana Mahavir, so the conduct of the people should be based on the right faith. Okay, what right faith? In contrast of these complicated rituals and the rites. Okay, in contrast of this, people should have a right faith, right knowledge, and the right action. One's action should not hurt another. That right action and the right knowledge should also be there. Now, next it is teaching of Mahavira. Now, the main teaching of the Mahavira, if we see one by one, we will find the same thing, that the Mahavira, the main aim of man's life is to attain salvation. In these two religion, attaining of this or means to get rid or free from the cycle of rebirth. In these two religion, you will get the same. Here also, to attain salvation, it is moksha. Moksha, what it is? It is freedom from the cycle of life and death. According to Hinduism, cycle of life and death, it is there. Okay, after death, again the man will born on the basis of this his previous birth deed. Okay, So now these two men are against of these ideas, means cycle of life and death. Now this can be achieved according to Mahavir. Okay, according to Mahavir, this moksha, okay, means free from or freedom from cycle of rebirth, okay, life and death, one can achieve by following three, and these are called three jewels. Okay, these are called three jewels. One is right faith, right knowledge, and the right action. Right faith should be there. Okay, complicated faith should not be there. One must not follow this complicated faiths of these rites and the ritual and all this. So what it is that? So one should follow this right faith, right knowledge, and the right action. One's action must not hurt another. Now the 5 vows are there. Now what are the 5 vows? Now 5 vows are there. It is not to injure life. Okay, so not to steal, not to tell lie, not to own property, and not to lead a impure life. Okay, so people nowadays generally try their best to own property and always wants to lead a very luxurious and comfortable life. Okay, now those who are the follower of this Jainism, okay, they are to follow strictly. These are the 5 vows. Okay, and these are not to injure life. Okay, not to injure means all these living beings. Okay, including these the animals also. Okay, and not to steal. Okay, not to steal. STEL, steal means not to take. Okay, not to take anything from someone. Okay, without his permission. Okay, what we call it also as robbery. So, and not to own property. Okay, so follower of Jainism, they follows these are the 5 vows. Now spread of Jainism. So how Jainism spread, okay, across the country. So Lord Mahavir, okay, he set up a number of monasteries, and these monasteries set up across the country in India. Now the different states, okay, where these were set up: Rajasthan, Western India, Bengal, Central India. Large number of people became the follower of this Jainism because of its simplicity. Now 3 jewels are to follow and the 5 vows, very easy to follow. So, and the society was also looking for a simple, okay, simple and very easy, okay, easy to follow religion. Society was also looking. That is why people attracted and embraced the Lord Mahavir religion. But Lord Mahavir, he died in Pava, Pava in the South Bihar at the age of 72. When he died, his name and fame, okay, his name and fame had spread far and wide in the country, and because of this, large number of people embrace his religion. Now this name and fame, okay, name and fame, how this spread across the country, and when historically or the historian, when they reconstruct the history of this Jainism, so they came across this a number of architecture, okay, and this many kings who founded many Jaina temple, like here the Dilwara temple at Mount Abu and Palitana temple at Shatrunjaya hill in Gujarat. So based on these Jaina principles, so when the king, they adopted it at state religion and founded or constructed this number of temple based on the principle of or teaching of this Jainism, then it exemplifies that. So Jaina religion, okay, Jaina religion had much influence in the number of states. Now division of Jaina after the death of Lord Mahavira, okay, so division also took place, and the followers were divided into two sects. One is Swatambara and one is Digambaras. Now Digambaras are those who did not wear cloth at all and lead a life of self-torture. Okay, self-torture means a very penance life. Okay, means those want to attain this moksha. Okay, moksha by following these 5 vows and all this. So self-torture means without attaching to this materialistic world, okay, materialistic life, okay, or the very comfort or luxurious life, without attaching to this luxurious and the comfort life. Now Jainism, like Buddhism, had not spread across this Asia continent. So this religion could not get opportunity to spread all over the world. However, millions of followers are there in India. Now next it is Buddhism. Buddhism, the idea was evolved by Buddha, Gautam Buddha, in 6th century BC. Unlike Mahavir, he followed a very middle path. Before telling you this, now how a very dramatic change, okay, dramatic change took place in his life. Let's see this. Now Gautam Buddha, later on name was given as Gautam Buddha. Initially his name was Siddhartha. So he was also son of the chief of the Shakya clan. He too was leading a very comfortable and the luxurious life. Now suddenly one day he persuaded his charioteer, okay, to take him out, and his first journey into the world outside, it was very traumatic. He was deeply anguished when he saw an old man, a sick man, and a corpse, dead body. He realized in that moment the decay and the destruction of the human body was inevitable. Human body, if human body is there, then decay and destruction will be there 100%, and one cannot escape from this. So after seeing this, an old man and a sick man and a corpse, so he also saw a homeless mendicants. So who are mendicants? Those who beg, means religious beggar, okay, mendicants. It seems to him that come to terms with old age, okay, mendicants, very old religious beggar begging, okay. So it seems to that means old age will come, disease, death, and means all these will follow. Siddhartha, he decided that he too would adopt the same path. Soon after, he left his palace, okay, and set out in search of his own truth. It was the incident which dramatically changed his life. Now, why he chose a very middle path, and what was his middle path? To evolve his new religious ideas. He avoided extreme austerity or penance. Now, penance, it is self-imposed punishment, like the Jainism means self-torture, self-imposed punishment. He avoided that. He also avoided complicated rites and the rituals, which people are at that time fed up. Society became very much complex. So, he chose middle one. Means, in between of self-torture means extreme, okay, self-punishment, self-torture and complicated rites and the ritual. In between these two, he took the middle one. So, let's see what was his middle path religious ideas. Gautam Buddha, I said he was born as Siddhartha. He was the son of the king of Shuddhodhan of Sakya clan. He was born in 6th century BC. He was born at Lumbini near Kapilavastu on Nepal border. The story what I said, which dramatically changed his life, led him to attain the supreme knowledge, and as a result of this, when he set out, okay, from his home, then only he became enlightened. And to be enlightened, it was not easy. Okay, say tomorrow if I go out to enlighten myself, simply I cannot. Okay, so after a long meditation, okay, it was not that from morning to evening, long meditation, it was not that. Number of years he spent in search of truth, okay, or the supreme knowledge, or to make himself enlightened. So, after a long meditation, under a people tree at Bodh Gaya, he got the true knowledge. And he came to be known as Buddha or enlightened one. Okay, enlightened one means knowledgeable one. It's a very simple one, knowledgeable. Okay, supreme knowledge. So, he then started, after attaining his enlightenment, then he started preaching his new religious ideas. When Gautam Buddha asked his follower to follow some moral conduct in their life, then eight paths are there, 8 ways are there. These are to follow by his follower. Now, what are these? Right belief, right thought, right speech, right action, right living, right effort, right mindfulness, right meditation. Meditation, it is there. Okay. So, these are the 8-fold paths, and these paths are to be followed by follower of his religion. Okay. Now, these are the 8-fold path which Gautam Buddha laid out, and that are to followed by his follower. Apart from this, Gautam Buddha emphasized ahimsa, non-violence. Okay, so he advised people not to injure anyone. Okay, anyone by thoughts or words. It is not only men, including animal. Okay, birds, all these living beings also deserve a very dignified life. Animals also deserve that. So it was his teaching that one should be all time non-violent. Then nirvana. What is nirvana? So Gautam Buddha stressed that chief purpose of the man's life to attain nirvana or salvation, that is freedom from the cycle of life and death. Here what we got? Moksha. Here Buddhism, nirvana. So it is also that one should attain. Okay, the main purpose of the man's life is to attain nirvana, and nirvana is to get freedom from the cycle of life and death, as it is there in Hinduism. Now karma, deeds, karma. It also stress that human action, complicated and costly rituals and yajanas. Now say Asmabada sacrifice. Now earlier king used to give Asmabada sacrifice. Okay, so it is sacrificing of these animals, and other complicated rituals were there. Now he stressed that man gets fruit of his goods, good and bad deeds. Whenever man do his deed, good deed, bad deed, according to that, he will get fruit. Okay, he will be rewarded based on his good or bad deed. Therefore, everyone should do good deed. So whenever one will do bad deed, he will be punished. Okay, he will not enjoy the fruits what he or she has done. Next, no rituals. In Jainism, rituals is not there. In Hinduism, rituals are the rites and the rituals are there. Okay, sacrificing of the animals and the other rites are also there. And in the Buddhism, all these rites are not there. So Buddha, he was not pleased with these complicated and the costly rituals and the yajnas or the sacrifices. Okay, so he advised people not to indulge in these rituals, and he stressed that, and he also advised his follower always to lead a very simple life and not to indulge, not to involve in all these costly rituals. Now, equality of man, he opposed the caste system. Okay, and according to him, caste system, according to this Hinduism, 4 castes are there. Okay, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and the Shudra. So he was opposed of this caste system. According to him, caste system creates barrier among the people, and some other peoples are also there out of this fourfold caste system. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and the Shudra. Out of this fourfold caste system, some other peoples are also there who do not come under this fourfold caste system. Now these outcast people also attracted towards his religion, and other people also, and large number of people as a result of this complicated caste system, other rituals and all this. So large number of people embrace his religion. Now when he started preaching his religion, large number of people when they embrace, so some of the rules, okay, or the conducts he laid out for his means these followers, okay, and these are eightfold path, okay, which already I said you. Now these are the right belief, thought, and the right speech, action, living, effort, and meditation. Now what means follower, okay, should not do. So these are not to kill, not to steal, not to run after wealth. Not to run after wealth. Okay, like the Jainism also. Okay, one should not own property, not to run after wealth, not to tell lie, and not to involve in bad deeds, and not to wish for one's property, and not to use bad language, and not to be angry. So these are the don'ts for the follower of Buddhism. What Gautam Buddha he laid out. Now these are the different teachings. Okay, so eightfold path you got to remember. Okay, question may come in the exam, so simply you got to write. And what are the don'ts? Okay, means the follower of the this Buddhism, they are not allowed to do. So these are not to kill, not to steal, okay, and not to run after wealth, not to tell lie, so, and not to be angry. So these also remember. Now, spread of Buddhism. Now, Buddhism became very popular. Within a short period of time, many these monasteries were established. So, in the monasteries, initially only men were allowed, and they were leading these monks. Okay, these those who were there in the monasteries, follower of this Buddhism. So, they were called as bhikshus. Initially, only men were allowed. Later, okay, so later women were allowed, and it was because of establishing number of monasteries, and Buddhist monk lived there in the monasteries and preached Buddhism. And later, king like this Kanishka, okay, and Ashoka accepted this Buddhism and helped it to spread in the other countries, and as a result, Buddhism spread. Okay, so in Sri Lanka, Tibet, China, Japan, Myanmar, and Thailand. Now, this Buddhism, Gautam Buddha preached his religion in local language. It was also one means this very essential merit. Okay, merit at that time that in Hinduism, this Vedic, okay, this Vedic, this Veds, okay, Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Yajur Ved, or Atharva Ved. So this scripture only Brahmins can interpret all these 4 Vedas. So common people, they could not understand and they could not interpret. They could not find out the meaning of these Veds. So as a result, large number of common people, they were kept away. They were kept away by the Brahmins. So when Buddhism started spreading, okay, in number of places or in the other countries, and language was one of the reason of its popularity, and Gautam Buddha preached his new religious idea in a very simple language. It is Prakrit, not in Sanskrit. And because of this, large number of people, they understood it, and very quickly they embraced these new religious ideas. So this is all about Buddhism. Now these two religious ideas, Buddhism and the Jainism, did not influence only the religious life of the people, also it touched every aspect of life and the culture. And these two religious ideas also influenced the new style of architecture, painting, sculpture, and Indian culture took to other foreign countries, Central Asia, China, Southeast Asian countries. Now, wherever the Buddhist monasteries developed, all these places later became a very learning center, or a very learned people used to come in all those monasteries, and as a result, this learning developed into famous universities like Nalanda, Takshila, Vikramshila, etc. It was not that the only common scholar or the learned people used to join all these learning environment, these monasteries. It was not that so scholar from the other foreign countries used to come to these monasteries. Now, the life of Gautam Buddha and his preaching are reconstructed by the historian from the Buddhist text. These are Tripitakas and Jataka text. So these two texts are related to the life, death of the Buddha, and other than these two Buddhist texts, hagiographies are also there. Hagiography So hagiography, it is a biography of saint or religious leader. So historian written the life, death and the preaching of Gautam Buddha from this Tripitaka, Jataka and the hagiography. So this is all about the chapter. You read this chapter repeatedly, enjoy this class. If any doubt is there, you write in the comment section, I shall reply you. And the notes of this chapter I shall supply you, and your parents are informed to collect the same after 15th of this month. This is all about the day's discussion. Thanks to all.